Hey guys, Heavy Arms 45 here. Now, y'all probably don't dislike me about this, but I lied to y'all. I didn't purposely lie to y'all. I explained in a video that I'm sending out after this one that um my work schedule has changed somewhat, so I I had to make a few changes. And those changes kind of set me back a lot. Where now I need to get y'all 3 videos. And so, yeah, because I have to give y'all 3 videos, I'm doing 2 today, and I'm putting out another one tomorrow. So what I lied to you about, what I said, I was gonna finish my honest opinions before the end of the year. I did the video for it. Well, I didn't do the video for it. I did the voice for it, but I didn't put the video together yet. I have the video together now. I have this, so you don't get this and that. And because every year I start off the year talking about something dealing with DC, I talked about Batman and justice, the idea of justice when it comes to um DC, well, any comic book situation. And I wanted to talk about, since like I said, I've talked about Superman being Carrie Sue, and I've talked about Batman being the ultimate person in the situation. So I figured I'd talk about somebody who they're talked about a lot, but they're not always they're a confusing group. Now, the people I'm talking about are the Green Lantern Corps. Now, there are several lanterns. I believe I have the purple lantern ring, and I had a friend who actually got all the rings. And so we had someone who has the blue lantern ring, the green lantern ring, the yellow lantern ring, the red lantern ring. Uh no, we have all the rings. I don't know where all the rings are, but I know where mine is. I believe I know where mine is. But the one I want to talk about, though, like I said, is the Green Lantern Corps. For a ring that has unlimited power, and it's all based on their will, they have very little imagination. Like, the person that you hear, or I was like in the comic books, you have, I forget what his name is, but he was the Green Lantern that later on, I believe, became the White Lantern. I might be right, might be wrong. Who knows? But he's supposedly one of the most creative lanterns there was. But then you have like the not okay, Dawnbreaker, which is the version of Batman where he literally got the Green Lantern ring, overturned its will, and made force his will upon it to where it started doing what he wanted to do. And he created all these shadow creatures that would devour people. All this because he got the Green Lantern ring at the same time his parents passed away. You know, that's a big change in his life. Parents die, all of a sudden a ring comes to him and says, "Hey, I think you're worthy of having me." And this grief-stricken child, not afraid of anything, proceeds to kill the person who killed his parents. Um, so it's um it's interesting, and like I said, that is probably the most creative you'll hear of a Green Lantern. Most Green Lanterns are not creative what they do. Like, they do basic guns and stuff like that. They basically can make any construct that their mind can think up. And sure, it's a construct, but think about all the stuff you can make with that. Like, all you see them do is they'll make a turret. They'll like shoot lasers at somebody. Think about all the worlds that they've had to go to, because you have to remember, Green Lantern, if I remember correctly, doesn't just patrol Earth, but they patrol quadrants of the universe. So each one of them has their own quadrant, which confuses me because, okay, if we're saying that each Green Lantern protects a certain quadrant, why is it that the Earth has five, yeah, at least five Green Lanterns that come specifically from there? Is everybody from and this might be just a plot hole when it comes to DC. Is every person that's a DC in DC as a Green Lantern worthy of having the Green Lantern ring? Because I remember I was watching I want to say Justice League in the um Fatal Five or something like that. And you had Emerald, who she was a Green Lantern that um she lost her friends on camp during a killer who killed them while she was going camping. And then you have Guy Gardner, you have John Jones, not John Jones, John Stewart, and you have Hal Jordan, and I want to say the last one name is something like uh Cal Reed or something like that. And so those are the five lanterns that I know of. And you see some other ones like Kilowog and I'm trying to think of other ones that you see. But there are some standard ones. Sinestro one time was a Green Lantern, then he turned to a Yellow Lantern. But, you know, with why is it that Earth has so many Green Lanterns? No one can explain it. It's just everyone in Earth is worthy, and everyone that's not from Earth is apparently weak. Because anytime you have a lantern that needs to be the best, is always a human lantern. Now, I could be wrong about that, but you know, we are very Earth focused, so we always think that we had superior people. Even even our greatest hero, who's apparently from Krypton, is better on Earth than he would have been on Krypton. In Krypton, he would have probably had to find a job, or they would have had a job for him because nobody would fly around. But they were very high tech too. But and I'm getting old Superman, but forget him. His the reason he's so powerful is because he came to Earth. Earth has the yellow sun, which gives him all his powers. If he went to a solar system that had a blue sun or a white dwarf sun or a red sun, he'll have different powers, but he would not be, I think, at his peak as he would under a yellow sun. So that goes into a whole nother logic of that. That basically means also that the Green Lantern Corps can go places where Superman can't go. Because Superman can't go to places where there's a red sun. So if there's a red sun, he suddenly becomes a normal person. Sure, he has like a little bit of the solar radiation from Earth, from the yellow sun in him, but how long would that last? Is the next question. Because we act like when Superman's flying through space that every place that he'll go to will have a yellow sun. And Heavy on 45, get back on point. I'm trying to, but get back on point. Fine. The Green Lantern Corps, that's what we're talking about, are never creative in what they have. In all the stuff they have, they're create rockets and stuff like that. But they're using technology that we've had around since what, the 1920s? You know, some of the weapons they use are stuff that we used back during the war, back during Vietnam War and stuff like that. There are things that have upgraded. I think the most creative thing, which was like out of the mind of Ryan Reynolds, I guess, was when he played Green Lantern and he was trying to save that guy who was in the helicopter. He made a RC track. I mean, yeah, a little Hot Wheels track so it could just come down to the ground gently. That's probably the most creative that you'll see. except for when it comes to Dawnbreaker, who literally made constructs to fight for him. And it's not like you run out of power because it's based on your will. As long as you're willing to continue to fight, your constructs will be stronger and they actually work. I've also wondered if like the Green Lanterns when they're like fighting Superman, and Superman has a weakness to kryptonite, can their constructs become basically what they have? Could they make a kryptonite yeah, could they make a rock that they willingly think is kryptonite that gives out kryptonite radiation? There's they are like the Green Lanterns are somewhat like Create from My Hero Academia. They can create anything they can think of, but they're so limited. They're because and mostly because most of the people that you find that get a Green Lantern ring are the two main ones you think of, Hal Jordan and John Stewart, are military. They only know the military life. But like I said, there have been advancements in technology since like they started doing these things. So some stuff that they could use have advanced. There are now like I want to say I remember watching a show called Future Weapons, and there's like several different weapons that I'm like, yeah, as a construct, technically the Green Lantern Corps could do that. Like this thing I heard about called Metal Storm. Metal Storm literally just all had a bunch of tubes and it fired bullets out of each one of them. You know, that was something, and it did it in like I think they said it could shoot 100 round, like yeah, 1,000 rounds in 1 second. I was like, wow, that's amazing, and it was cool to me. And the Green Lanterns could do something like that. The Green Lanterns go to different galaxies, like I said. They see different creatures. They can make a construct of any creature they see. They can, like, as long as they can imagine it, it can happen. It is literally a ring of whatever you dream up actually happen. But the Green Lantern Corps, from what we can see, has no imagination. They're so basic in the way they think of stuff that they don't think of all these new things. Like, as a kid, you had that SpongeBob moment where you're like, imagination. You thought of how you would do if you were like a Power Ranger or something like that. And you how you would give yourself some kind of special like over the top power. Some people who play Pathfinder Dungeons and Dragons think of before they even play the game a super powerful weapon that they want to make, that they start working on trying to do. With the Green Lanterns, they could literally do all this stuff because it's just a construct they thought of in their head and give it all the properties they want to have. They literally could reconstruct Diana's sword that they say can cut through atoms because it is so sharp and the blade is so thin on the edge that it literally could cut through atoms and cut through just about anything. They said they could literally remake anything that Batman has. They could literally, and I mean literally, if they know about it, make any type of technology they've seen before. And it might not be just as good as the original, but it should be just as effective. You know, they want to try and make sure that they don't get themselves hurt. They could literally remake any one of Lex's suits that's supposed to be kryptonite run that basically protects him from all the literal damage that Superman does whenever he punches him. Because why? Because Lex is a human that's getting hit by this guy who basically could knock down a building with one punch. The Green Lantern Corps, while being a great team, And they get themselves into trouble all the time because they're supposed to be the guardians of the galaxy. But every time someone wants to fight, they always attack the the guardians first because they're supposed to be the police force of the world. And then all of a sudden Justice League have saved them. But and I'm being somewhat hyperbolic and I'm somewhat not. The Green Lantern Corps though, they're good. But they, like I said, their imaginations are limited. I wish they had a little bit more imagination. Um yeah. I think I'm trying to run this because I'm like I really feel bad about the Green Lantern Corps because they literally could do anything with their rings and they don't. They limited, and I think that's, and this don't be sad to say, they're the Green Lantern Corps is limited by the people creating them, and that's somewhat of a problem, I guess, in my head. Like, you give someone a power that has unlimited potential, but you kind of nerf it down to where that person doesn't really think of using that power in any way besides the way you perceive it. So, like, when I watched this show called uh The Dark Knight Returns, where you have old Bruce sitting around and he decides to go ahead and get out of retirement and come back and try and save the day. Well, when watching this show, there's one part where I'm trying to remember which one I'm talking about. Shoot. I was in the middle of talking and I forget it. I'm sorry. Um yeah, that there was a nuclear strike done on America and Superman stopped it. In basically I remember the fact that Superman is as strong as he needs to be. Whenever he needs something, he magically has. Well, this nuclear bomb literally blew up in his face. And as it blew up in his face, he loses all the solar power they had. And he shrinks down to number skin and bones. But and that was a sad moment. And I'm like, okay, that's really sad. Until he falls in a bed of like yellow flowers. I don't know what I want to call them, daisies or whatever. Lilies. It doesn't matter. And when he does that, he realized that he's weak. He needs solar energy, and the whole sky is cloudy right now, so he's not getting none of it from the sun. He takes a flower and sucks the solar energy out of it. And not only it, but the rest of the flowers around him to gain back his solar power. And I thought about how dangerous that makes Superman. Because you have to think about that. Superman literally gets his power from the sun. We have never thought of Superman ever being evil. But let's say you ever separated him from from the sun. Like let's say Batman and him got into a fight and he did that. I mean, and Batman somehow knocked the solar energy out of him to where he's weak. He could literally grab Batman by the face and suck the solar energy out of him because we have somewhat solar energy in us too. Not a lot of it, but we have some, I want to say. And so, like, he just suddenly sucked the life out of these plants. And I might be really thinking too hard, but I was wondering literally if he could and I'm saying literally too much. I was wondering if he could actually pull the energy out of a person, um, because solar energy does come over our skin, and it's good for our skin to be out in the sun every once in a while. Not too much, don't want to be too much inside, and you don't want to be inside too much. So that's the thing. But yeah, it until I saw that thing of Superman draining energy from the flower, I never thought of him being able to do that. You know, um, but he literally is, in a way, a I won't say energy vampire that is, because the sun's constantly giving him energy, but if he ever needs to, he just has the ability to drain the energy out of anything around him. Most likely he would do it from trees because he needs the solar energy, but the question is how far that will go. And that's really the question when it comes to Green Lanterns too. How far do their abilities of creating constructs go? As far as we know, the only thing that it can't do is kill. It comes with the idea of you can do whatever you dream up. And whatever the Green Lanterns we see right now dream up is only things that either you see on Earth or basically just lasers, which is the limits of what the actual writers are doing, not of the person themselves sometimes. You know, whenever you're writing a story, you can only do whatever is in your head. You can't go out of what you, and that's not, I'm not saying something bad about the right, but I'm saying that when writing a story, you can only do based off of what's in your perception. That's my that's my logic of it, because that's the way I see it when I write a story or when I watch a movie. You only know, like, if you're watching a crime movie, I mean a court movie, or watching Law and Order or something like that. Our knowledge of courts is very simple. So when you start watching somebody like Legal Eagle, who's telling you how none of the stuff in this movie is accurate, you you're like, oh, okay. But why is it not accurate? Because the person who wrote the story took off of his perception of what you could do. The movie was limited or given uh more appeal based off of what the writer saw, not what actually will happen. Um and I think that's really the thing there. The Green Lantern Corps are a group of strong, limited minded people. And I'm gonna leave it at that. If you want to say anything to what I just said, uh, that's cool. I hope you're having a good start to your new year. I'm probably gonna say that in the video you don't see after this too. So please forgive the repeat. If you actually do watch that movie, I mean not that movie, that video, it is almost a movie, because I will tell you it is an hour and I want to say 13 minutes long. Why? Because I was going from M to Z, and I missed some of the ones. I was looking at my library, but I had moved some of my movies out of the library. So some of the movies that I could talk about, I'll have to talk about at another time on their own. So they get their own personal time of me talking about them, since I'm still talking about honest opinions and stuff. And if you have an anime that you want to suggest that I do an honest opinion on, I will. And I'm don't hate myself for saying it. Even if it's JoJo Bizarre Adventures, I'll do an honest opinion if you want me to. And be specific on which one you want me to do if you did say that. If you say that you want me to do Higurashi, come to find out, there's a lot of Higurashis. I've done one. So, you might want me to do a different one. But yeah, I hope y'all have a good day, night, whichever time you see this. and see you.